Okay, just to finish off, I just want to prove the fact that we can get an A rating, but it does mean using HTTPS to do this. And I do have a site that's running on HTTPS, and I do have a certificate for this. I went through this demo earlier just to show how it's done, although because this requires a domain name and a purchase certificate, then it was kind of optional. But just to prove the configuration that we've made gives us an A rating. And I just want to go through the Apache configuration in this case to achieve the things we need to do. Now, inside the application itself, earlier on we looked at something called HSTS that we turned off, and this is the strict transport security header, which forces all of our requests to be made using HTTPS and not HTTP. And I've left this turned off because our Kestrel server, which is the configuration inside there, this doesn't make any difference when we're serving our content on Apache, because Apache needs to send the header in this particular case. So nothing has changed in terms of my startup configuration. That stayed the same because our Kestrel server is just a proxy, or our Apache server is proxying our request to our local host running on 5000 on the Linux server, and Apache is the web server that's responsible for sending this particular header. So I'm just going to go back to the Linux configuration, and I just want to show you what I've done here. And all I've done is I've enabled the Apache module for headers and restarted Apache, and then I've just made a change to my configuration. And if I just take a look at this configuration, all I've done inside here is set the header to always set strict transport security, and the maximum age here is a year, which is just the recommended value from SecurityHeaders, and also include subdomains as another recommendation as well. And if I go and take a look and once again test the security rating for this particular site, and I'll just paste this in here, and if I click scan, what we should find now is that we get an A rating on this based on our configuration really, and all of our headers that we've sent back, particularly this content security policy. This is the main one that prevents any nasty stuff being run when a user's browsing to our site, because it's only going to make the stuff available that we've whitelisted inside here. But of course, if we're sending user credentials or asking for user credentials, then it is important to run the site on HTTPS. And if you're not a fan of Linux, you can breathe a sigh of relief, because we're going to move on to publishing our application in Azure next. And we'll take a look at that next.